And despite calls for people not to overreact to the drones, President-elect Trump posted this on Truth Social last week, ending with the line, "Shoot them down." Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes joins me now. Khalif, it goes without saying, but you should not take these matters into your own hands and shoot something like this down despite what the president-elect is saying.
100%. I would not do that at all. First of all, because these drones are not doing anything illegal. I mean, even though there are not things in place right now to prevent the activity that folks are frustrated with, that there's drones flying over them at night or in places that they don't want to see them, there have been no allegations of illegality, like, recording people in the middle of their home, trying to take pictures of them in private places. There's been nothing, just frustration. But to shoot them down, well, now you're talking about a crime. It's illegal in multiple places, specifically on the federal level, to shoot something down. A drone, an aircraft, I should say. Drones fall into the category of aircrafts. It would be an unmanned aircraft, so setting fire to, shooting at, that would fall into the category. FAA fine, first of all, and then you're talking about 20 plus years in prison if you shoot them down in most states. And then the other things are like putting lasers at the drones, what people were talking about. Well, that doesn't even make sense. Why would you shoot a laser at an unmanned aircraft? There's nobody in there. So a person that's operating it, typically we have controls that the laser won't do anything to. So shooting them down and taking any other measures just seem like it's an overstep or an overreach. Obviously, I can understand and appreciate why folks are frustrated, but there has to be something other than let's go grab a gun and shoot this drone down that's 200 plus feet in the air.
Can't be promoting violence again here on social media, and that really kind of stokes the fire and also causes some problems when you're talking about the laser too, because that can get in the way of commercial aircraft, and that's another bad thing. But also one of the things too is that there could be some copycats out there and some misinformation that is floating around on social media. You really got to guard against this type of thing.
You have to guard against that, because then folks will think, okay, I'm justified in shooting this thing down, right? So then what happens? You shoot it down. Now that turns into a missile. Now this thing that's flying out of the air that was 300 to 400 feet in the air is now crashing down. And some of these drones are large. You're not talking about small things. You're talking about large things. Well, you don't want that falling on top of your head. You don't want that hitting one of your kids while they're playing in the grass. So again, we're starting and creating more problems while trying to get rid of the solution. And to the original point where they say the answer can't be, I don't know. Well, oftentimes that is the answer. When you have a new technology and you have no regulation, or I should say little to no regulation, the answer may be no, or it may be I don't know, or we don't know right now. We know that it's no foreign interference. We know that it's not causing or doing anything illegal, but we don't know the answer how to regulate it. That may be the right answer while we figure out how to regulate it. But if you rush to judgment, now you'll take something that's good and turn it into something that's negative. Because there are first responders that use drones. I talked to a CMPD officer the other day. He was looking at me fly my drone. He said, hey, I got a smaller one. We use it and throw it up in the air. So now are we saying we don't want all drones? We're probably not saying that. We just want to make sure they're regulated right.
Yeah, and every time you see a drone, now you start to think like, oh, is this a possibility?
Right, but now they're saving someone and you're shooting it out the air. Probably not what we want to have happening.
Well, we could all probably agree right now, more information is needed about exactly what is 100%. Going on. All right, Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes.